All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Pleasure to have Pete Mackay here, all the way from Austin. Pete, so why don't you tell the fans of why we call you DJ Pete?
Most recently, because I DJ'd at the South by Southwest event that we had in Austin a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, about a month ago now, right?
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yep. But before that, the reason I got pinged to do that was that I was a nightclub DJ and rave DJ many years ago.
So how did you get started with that?
That actually started because a buddy of mine got into the production side of doing parties, and he said, "Hey, you know how to use computers, so we need somebody to do like video projection, like visuals projection." And so I started doing as a VJ, and then I learned turntables and bought my own, and then got a huge vinyl addiction. And so I just went from there.
How do I get that job, dude? Being the guy who produces parties.
Right.
That sounds like the best job ever, dude.
It's pretty fun.
So how did you get started the project? Ben talks about you ad nauseum because he says he loves you.
Yeah.
Can you go into a little backstory?
Yeah, we go way back. Well, probably back as far as anybody on this project does anyway. Right around the time that the funding completed, the original campaign, my former studio let us all go. So we all got laid off from that studio. And so I was looking for work, and I got a call from Eric Peterson asking me if I'd be interested in helping out with email, actually. So for the first little while, I just did email. So if anybody ever emailed the company in the first 5 months, 3 to 5 months of the project, I answered it. I answered every piece of email that came into this company for a while. So in the early days, at the very beginning, I was just working from home because there was no office yet. The office space had been, the leases had been signed, but we hadn't moved into it yet. And so I was working from home for a little while, and then me and Ben and Eric moved into the basement. And it was just us three for probably 2 weeks until some of the other guys started coming on board. But for a good portion of the time, the development, on the ground was just me and Ben.
What was that like? I mean, did you know what, you obviously didn't know what it was going to become, but did you have a feel for what it actually was?
Well, so it was interesting because I'm a huge Wing Commander fan, huge. And so I was just super stoked to be able to be on the project, so from that aspect, like I was completely gung-ho about doing anything I could to help out anywhere, and so it basically just stemmed from that, and I think that's part of why I ended up on the design team, was just the fact that I was so gung-ho about wanting to make something really cool.
Yeah, that was my next question. You came from a video game background, though, correct?
Yep.
And then was that in design as well, or did?
Nope. I actually started in QA. That was where I started, and went from QA to associate producer. And as that associate producer role, or part of the responsibilities in that role, was also community manager. And that was, I think, that piece of it that was interesting to Eric right at the beginning, was somebody who had experience working with the community. So from there, I just worked really hard in that role, and a question came up that Chris needed something, and at that point we didn't actually have any designers on staff but Chris, and Chris was swamped running a business, so he asked me and Ben for, hey, I need a design for something, and so I took a swing at it, and he liked it, and I think, based on my passion for the project and that thing that I submitted to him, he liked it, and eventually I got moved over to the design team.
Can you say what that thing was?
At this point, it was, gosh, I worked on so much stuff now. It was either...
Humble brag.
Yeah. It was... No, that one was the original proposal for what types of parts would go on a ship, like avionics and radar, power plants, and it wasn't just a list of that, but it was a description of how they worked together. So it was an entire system. but it was still a pretty high-level proposal.
So the fans can thank you for everything they have in their ship.
Well, for a tiny little nugget that started it, maybe like a piece of the seed.
So you've been around here since the inception, it seems like,
yeah.
or about thereof. What do you feel, like, how do you look at the project now in terms of where it is now, what you do now, to like what you were doing back then?
It's so different. The company has grown so much that then it was like I knew everybody at the company. Like even when the company got considerably larger than just me and Ben, I still knew everybody at the company.
Yeah.
But at this point, there's so many people that I don't know, because we're, a big reason for that is because that we're spread out now over 3 major studios and several outsourcers.
And a couple continents.
Yeah. So, it's just not possible anymore. So the feeling has totally changed. At the beginning, it was a lot of excitement for, being able to get this project off the ground, and now it's, a lot of work to get it to where we want it to be. So.
That's awesome. Before that you go, we got a couple rapid fire questions. You ready?
Sure.
What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time, probably Blade Runner.
Blade Runner?
Yep.
We should start a counter. Like as soon as someone gives a movie, there should be like two things, and then one of them should be a movie I've seen, one of them should be a movie I haven't, because I have not seen that one. Is it good?
I love it. Yeah. You should watch that and Ghost in the Shell together. Just make it a movie night.
I've always wanted to watch Ghost in the Shell, but we're getting off that.
Yeah.
Favorite video game?
Phantasy Star 2.
I played that. All right, we're good on that one. Why 2? Just curious.
I liked the themes of it. It was really really moody. It was kind of depressing, which was pretty different from most of the RPGs that came out around the same time. And it was the first game to actually have a major character death in it, way before Final Fantasy VII. So yeah.
Wait, who dies in Final Fantasy VII?
I'm not telling you. So spoilers, man.
Yeah, right? You should have hashtag this entire interview right now. And then a favorite ship in Star Citizen.
Man, I have several.
You get one.
I get one?
One.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go with the Gladiator.
Gladiator?
I like the Gladiator.
Why?
Yeah.
Just curious.
I just like the shape of it. I think it looks cool. I just...
Did you do the thrusters on it?
Not yet. I have modeled them in the calculator, though.
All right, Pete, thanks again for coming on both shows. Yeah. It's been a pleasure having you, and have a safe trip back to Austin.
Thanks, man.
All right, and you...
Redacted!
Let's just cut right there.